Wonderful. Thank you all so much for being here. This is meeting of the Elections, Education, and Housing Subcommittee of Montgomery County. We are going to be taking up 3 bills today and hopefully be almost done with our work. And I'd like to start, I'm just going to go in numerical order. I'd like to start with MC6, Montgomery County Board of Elections membership, and we have Delegate Werman here to tell us what the bill does. You're on mute, Delegate Werman.
Sorry about that. Thank you for giving the opportunity to speak about this bill. So what this bill does, it just basically converts the substitute members into members of the Board of Elections into regular members using a process that already exists in Maryland law and that has been used repeatedly. The bill does not remove anyone midterm. It does not override the governor's appointment authority and does not create a new appointment mechanism. The Board of Elections supports the bill as it's written, and their long-serving counsel has provided legal analysis on this. It's on this call, as is the president of the Board of Elections, to ask to be able to help us answer any of the questions that you guys might have. So right now there are 2 substitute members of the Board of Elections. Each one of them is member of one is a Democrat and one's a Republican. And what this bill does is basically turn them into regular board members. And I'll have President Neiman chime in case I missed anything.
The only thing I would add is that they would only have 1 year left on their current term, and then in the next term starts in 2027 and would be for all regular members. 22 out of the 24 local boards have already made this change in order to do this. And today the county council voted unanimously to support this legislation. The county executive also supports it.
And we did receive a letter of support from the county council. I do want to say, I think everybody knows this, but there was somebody at DLS did flag a potential constitutional issue. What we're up against here is the opportunity to get a hearing date for the bill. GLE, our new committee, has said that they will not schedule a hearing without a letter of support if it doesn't come out of our committee. We can certainly pass the bill if the body would like to do that, and offer corrective amendments if they are needed, if it turns out they are needed. We have asked thank you. We have asked for an AG report. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank
I was in mute.
Discussion on the bill? Delegate Charkoudian.
Thank you. I just want to clarify. So if we move this now, the idea would be that we could still come back and address this issue if it turns out that the AG agrees that there's a constitutional concern about this section. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And I think the easy fix would be
to remove the uncodified language, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and to have it take effect at the end of the term,
right?
Which was kind of,
it has the same effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It kind of takes away a lot of the point of the bill, but you know, that might be what we'd have to do. But yes, we our delegation letter would state that we are awaiting the AG's
pending that. Okay.
Yeah.
As long as that's the case, I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, Delegate Collison.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I understand many other counties have already adopted it. So is the issue the timing that is potentially unconstitutional, or otherwise I'm not sure why it's being raised, or that possibility is being raised, since it's already being done in a number of other counties.
My understanding is that it's the timing, but perhaps Mr. Karpinski or Mr. Neiman would like to answer that? Help us with that?
Sure. Mr. Naaman, do you want me to address that?
Yes, please go ahead.
So it is a question of timing, and we have looked at the issue. We feel very confident that the timing is a non-issue. We have pointed the AG's office to a decision by our Supreme Court, a unanimous decision in State versus Falcon, where they basically held that the General Assembly has the authority to do this. It was a situation where they reconfigured the governor's authority to appoint people to the nominating commission for Anne Arundel County's Board of Education. And the Supreme Court unanimously found that it was perfectly constitutional to do. This is not even remotely close to that situation because no one's being removed, no one's term is being shortened. The only thing is that those individuals that are substitute members would become regular members. And of course they essentially already do the same work and they get the same pay. It's just a matter of recognizing their full efforts and, allowing them now to be able to vote in regular meetings.
Thank you. Further discussion on the bill? Seeing none, Ralph, can you please call the roll?
Stand by. Delegate Charkoudian,
Yes.
Delegate Collison,
Yes.
Delegate Crutchfield,
Yes.
Delegate Kaufman,
Yes.
Delegate Shetty, absent. Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Ziegler.
Yes.
That bill passes unanimously.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you all very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
We are now going to move on to MC9, mandatory school holidays, and Delegate Chow Wu is here with us to present that bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to explain the bill. The committee and the delegation passed this bill last year unanimously. I think this is the moment for us to recognize Montgomery County has been a diverse community, and both our delegation and school board has the capacity to make it working and recognize these diverse holidays, and which can recognize all the cultures and the racial groups. And I think in general, the school board has been practicing this to have a professional learning day or school off day for these holidays. And I believe they still can make it working continuously like what they're doing. So it will not create an extra burden for them. At the same time, definitely this mandate will put the school board at sometime, right? They need to figure out how they place the school holiday in their school day or professional day or their holidays at each individual week or month. And they have been doing this for several years. It demonstrates they have the capacity to recognize this holiday without impacting the school system. And at the same time, sometimes we occasionally heard some complaints, for example, last year about Diwali, this year about Eid, right? And I think sometimes if they put the priority there, they can do it. I really wish our county delegation can still recognize this one. The other one I want to point out, last year, our delegation added the Juneteenth to this list because originally I didn't think about that. But observing what the federal government is doing, I really appreciate the delegation add that holiday in this list because of the Montgomery County is such a diverse county. We definitely recognize we are being a diverse county and respect that diversity. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegate Kaufman.
Yes, I have a question for the sponsor, if I may.
Absolutely.
I support this bill, Delegate Wu, and I was proud to vote for it last year. But at the bill hearing, as you may recall, Mr. Alexander, who's here and is a paraeducator, Walter Johnson, indicated his concerns about the bill, not because what you're trying to do, but because it would increase the number of days that education support professionals such as paraeducators, building service workers, cafeteria workers, etc., were not paid because apparently there are numerous holidays where they're not paid already. So I'm just wondering, have you worked in the intervening months? Have you worked with the SEIU to try and address their concern about how this would hurt their livelihood because they wouldn't get paid for a bunch of new holidays?
Dr. Kaufman, thank you very much for that question, right? So I think that's a legitimate concern. I heard that a lot as well, both from school board and SEIU. I think this bill does not generate new holiday, right? That is just what they're doing right now for school board, HCPS. We're not creating something new. I think I just want to make sure every delegate understand that point. We're not creating something new. We're just codifying what a school board is doing. And so that means there's no extra holiday credit, right? They're doing this right now, right? So that means that we are not creating something, you kind of just codify the status quo. Let's use the other word, right?
Just make sure I understand him, if that's okay, Madam Chair.
Absolutely.
So you're saying that this is nothing new, that that MCPS is already, I'm just trying to understood, I heard you right. MCPS is already giving off for those days, so it's not new?
Yeah, that's what they're doing now, right? It's
Okay.
not something new.
Okay, thank you for your clarification, Delegate Wu. Good bill.
Thank you. Delegate Crutchfield?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Delegate Wu, I have a quick question for you. Is this bill substantially in the same posture it was in last year when we passed it?
It's the same one.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I remember that you proposed adding the Juneteenth. I didn't think about that, but the national politics has changed dramatically. I think I really appreciate you added that. So in Howard County, we have another one. We added Juneteenth as well. And you never know what the federal government is doing, right? So I just feel adding there create that safe zone. I really appreciate your input for that one.
Thank you.
Delegate Kaufman, did I cut you off? Did you have another question? Or you just still have your hand up? You're on mute. Delegate Kaufman, you're on mute.
You did not cut me off. I just have to lower my hand.
Oh, good. Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Further discussion on the bill? Delegate Charkoudian.
Thank you. I didn't know, is Chris from SEIU here? Is he able to comment on this bill, that the issues have been addressed, or if there's additional comments, can we hear from him?
So happy to
that would be
answer that
great.
for you, Delegate. Our members last year, our hourly support staff experienced 20 no work, no pay days on the school calendar. So as far as, this adding more no work, no pay days, we're still of the opinion that's exactly what it does. Now, how many of those days actually fall during school working days, I'll defer to Jason, who is actually an employee in the school system. Jason, how many more days is this going to add to you not getting paid?
Well, it really depends on what day of the week they fall on. So depending on what year it is, it may not be and I want to clearly say that these are non-instructional days, is how they're listed on the calendar. So depending on what day of the week they fall on, we may or may not be off school that day. But so it could very well add days depending on when they fall, what day of the week they're on.
Could I ask either Patty Ersprung or Essie McGuire if you feel you can comment on that?
This is Essie McGuire, again, Chief of Staff for Montgomery County Public Schools. Happy to try to clarify. As was said by the previous speaker, it does depend. Right now, the school system certainly always has an interest in aligning non-instructional professional days with days of observance to be respectful of our very diverse community. We also, though, have a number of other operational pieces to achieve as well in a fairly constrained time frame. And so when it comes to the no work, no pay days, so for example, a non-instructional day where students aren't in school, food service workers, for example, would not get paid if it's not a holiday. So we have holidays in the calendar that are designated holidays where individuals are paid as a holiday, right? Christmas Day, for example, or Labor Day, probably a better example. But if we have non-instructional days, then individuals in our support union who are not performing work on those days frequently would not have pay on that day if it's not a holiday.
Great, thank you
I-
very much.
I would just clarify too that while the school system does try to achieve the again non-instructional alignment, again it isn't always a challenge. I mean, it isn't always possible, and sometimes it's challenging. As with snow or other operational considerations.
Thank you. Ms. Ersprung, did you want to add something to that?
One more quick point. I had a conversation with Delegate Wu last week, and we had spoke about the fact that, the number of paid days that the SEIU staff work is set at the beginning of the year. I think the challenge is the longer it takes to get all of those paid days in the calendar, it stretches their pay out. So if it takes longer to get all 170 days work days in, they have more and more weeks where they're not getting a full paycheck. So their average weekly pay decreases when they have no work, no pay days, in the calendar. And as Essie said, while we try our best to accommodate the cultural, religious holidays of our community, last year it was the case that we couldn't accommodate Diwali because of all the competing interests. So that was a full work day for our SEIU staff. So that wasn't a no work, no pay day. Whereas if this law were to pass, we're guaranteeing that those holidays, there's no flexibility, there's no chance for that not to be a non-instructional day for students, which would most likely coordinate to a no work, no pay day for our SEIU staff. And I think the one other thing that you all heard during the local bill hearing was some individuals who came to testify and talked about additional days that they would like to see added as holidays. And I think that there's also that concern about kind of opening the door to, well, now we've added these holidays and this group isn't represented, so maybe we need to add another one, and it can just snowball from there. So those would be kind of the operational concerns that we would have.
That's helpful. Thank you. Delegate Wu?
Thank you. So I want to address the snowball question, right? So starting from that, I don't think it's a snowball question. It's a very diverse community, but we're not going to put a holiday which like 10 people observe, right? That will not happen. I think everybody are rational about why we're observing certain holiday, because there's a massive student population there. And that's number one. I don't think that will be a snowball question for decision makers. Second one, I would say definitely that this will be a challenge for school board to make arrangement, how to recognize that, right? Because this is a mandate school. At the same time, I think it's a priority depending on school board choices as well. And right now, for example, we're doing right now, right? This bill will not add anything new to the school calendar for this year, right? Or next year. It will depend how they add it up. And so I want to address SEIU's question about the non-pay. So that had been predetermined already, right? This bill will not shorten them, but the point is like that changed when they will get it. That definitely can be a burden for some members. I recognize that as well. At the same time, I come back to the question to the school board, right? Is a decision, are we able to recognize we're a diverse community and we're able to make a accommodation to that diversity needs? Yeah, thank you.
Further discussion on the bill? I considered holding it, but I think that we've had this discussion before. Delegate Charkoudian.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I need to say that I fully supported the bill last year because I didn't understand what it was doing to people's paychecks. And I feel really torn right now because I think it's really important to acknowledge and honor and celebrate all the extraordinary diversity we have, including by celebrating and honoring it with giving people a chance to celebrate their holidays. I also don't feel like in good conscience I can move forward with something that's going to take folks who I already don't believe are paid enough and stretch that already not enough paycheck over more days or more weeks or more months. And so unless we think that we can come up with a solution to that issue, which I'm not sure if there was an attempt to come up with a solution and we didn't reach one, or if there wasn't an attempt, but unless we can come up with a solution to that, I'm afraid I can't vote for this bill.
Fair enough. Are you, would you prefer to hold it? Do you think?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm
We'll
not
vote
sure,
on it.
Delegate Wu, if you have tried to work out a solution with the folks from SEIU and you couldn't reach an agreement, or if there just hasn't been a conversation yet, in which case I might allow for that.
And Delegate Chakotay, thank you for that question. So I think that the challenge here is it's an understanding how this issue comes, right? So this bill does not create extra off, because the school system said, right, they have a fixed working day. This really kind of shift their payment day. That's where what they talk about. It's not cutting their paycheck, right? It's not cutting their paycheck. It's just shift their paycheck maybe from this week to another week by 1 day or one day or something, right? Depending where the holiday falls. And it's not extra, it's not adding extra day off for student, for staff member, for anyone. But that's the challenge you try to get like across understanding exactly what the bill is doing, because the school board can always make it working. They have been making it working for several years already, right? But that's I feel it's definitely a little challenging to try to figure out exactly what the implication of that. But this bill does not reduce their payment. It changed the payment day. I would say that. That's where it lays. I think if anybody have a question on that, I think I just try to explain that. There's no way we'll say, if we added this, right, there's no way we can compensate that because it's non-instruction day for our SEIU members. And I'm not asking the school that they're paying that, sorry for that. Yeah, that's just.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Delegate Crutchfield. You're on mute.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. For the SEIU folks that are here, can you just sort of explain, is this really a collective bargaining issue in that you all, during your collective bargaining process, usually bargain for days that are going to be selected as holidays? Could you just tell us a little bit more about that, how we got to this point and what we're trying to seek a resolution, obviously.
Sure. Happy to chime in there. And, I also pass the mic to Jason for a personal perspective for work on the ground. But for us, it would be very helpful if folks are going to have no work, no pay days, that there was a component where people were getting paid, whether it would be paid professional development. Obviously, designating these as paid holidays can also be a solution. But obviously, there's a fiscal note that's going to be tied to that. And the school system is going to need the money to make that happen. So it feels like this is going to be a multifaceted solution that's going to take both state and local government to try and come up with a solution. But Jason, you're the one whose paycheck is getting affected by this. I wanted you to chime in and really help get the committee understand where we are and how we get to a solution on this.
I would say that I get the delegate's point about it's not reducing a paycheck necessarily, but really it is, because a normal paycheck would be a full 10 days, let's say, Monday through Friday. But if one of those is a non-instructional day, then that paycheck is then 9 days. So it absolutely is reducing that paycheck. If there's an instructional day within that paycheck, that absolutely does. And then our longer breaks, non-instruction days, like winter break and spring break, those are even smaller paychecks. So absolutely they have an effect, and they do affect how we have to budget and just manage your lives. That absolutely has an impact.
Madam Chair, I would just recommend that we hold this bill. Unfortunately, I think it looks like it needs a little bit more work.
I agree with you. Thank you for that. Delegate Kaufman.
I was just gonna recommend that you hold it because for me, it's very difficult. It's like Delegate Wu and the SEIU folks are very well intentioned, but coming from sort of different worlds about whether or not, Delegate Wu, and I believe him, says it doesn't reduce pay, and SEIU says it does, and I believe both. So let's see if we can have another week to strike a grand bargain because, it feels like they're just, if you'll excuse the religious metaphor, they're singing from different hymn books, so it's hard to see who's right.
Fair enough. Thank you. Delegate Charkoudian, you had your hand up before. Did you?
I think, yeah, I did. It may be a moot point, but I just want to, because I want to encourage Delegate Wu to speak to SEIU. I think I just wanted to make this point. I think what I understand you saying, Delegate Wu, is the total number of days across the year are still getting paid for. And I think that's true, but the distinction is they're paid in different ways. And so if you're budgeted and counting on 10 days of pay, now you get 9 days of pay. You're trying to pay your mortgage, you have 9 days of pay instead of 10 days of pay. That does make a difference. And I think, and SEIU folks can tell me if I got this wrong, then it affects when you start and stop. And so there's these other questions about a second job that people might be holding. And if the 170 days goes into when that second job might be starting or stopping, then it takes away the ability to have that secondary income that might be necessary to make ends meet. So those are the two ways that, even though I think Delegate was correct that there's still 170 or 180 days that get paid for, I think that's the way that it really does affect people's ability to pay the bills. And so I do hope that, I believe there's often creative solutions that we haven't thought of. So I hope that we can have a joint conversation. I hope that Delegate Wu and the union can have a conversation. But I think that's really where those two kind of concepts are both accurate and really create that challenge of how people are going to pay their bills.
Thank you very much. Delegate Cullison.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And along the lines of creative solutions, I would ask that MCPS consider, since we know what the number of days are that the folks are going to be paid, that there is a regular, that the way they're paid is more consistent and not irregular depending on a day that is, a non-work day. So, I mean, it doesn't solve our problem immediately, but you could even do it in temporary situations where, in a year where one or more of the holidays falls on a non-work day, or it creates a non-work day, then there could be adjustment in the paycheck for the SEIU members. But I guess, I mean, again, I'm just speaking off the top of my head, but looking for a way that does both things, honors our diversity, allows our community to celebrate all aspects of our community, and does not create struggles and barriers for the folks who are the lowest paid people in the school system. Thank you for letting me spout up.
No, that was very well said. Thanks very much. So with that, it seems clear that the committee would like to hold the bill. So we will do that, and in the hopes that we can come up with a solution, because I know many members of the committee at least would very much like to support this bill. We just don't want to be hurting some of our school workers. So thank you very much. We are going to now move on to MC 14, which is the bill that would give the school system some flexibility with hours versus days of instruction. And I think everybody saw Chair Polakovich-Carr's amendments, which would tighten that up and make sure that it was doing just exactly that and not a whole lot of other things at the same time. I have a short paragraph that she asked me to read to you, so I'm going to do that. That just kind of outlines what her amendments do. She asked me to share with the committee that the amendment comes out of multiple conversations with MCPS, MCEA, and the subcommittee chair of the standing committee that will hear this bill. As the delegation heard during the December local bill hearing, MCPS is seeking flexibility to prevent a situation such as what occurred the last school year, when the State Board of Education denied MCPS's request to not make up 2 days of school. The amendments offered by Chair Pelakovich-Carr make clear that the flexibility MCPS is seeking is solely about making up snow days. They also make the bill an emergency bill so that this new authority could be used this school year. Sounds like a good year to have this flexibility, right? Lastly, the amendments add a sunset date to the bill. Chair Pelakovich-Carr believes that this sunset date is needed given concerns raised by members outside of Montgomery County. Otherwise, the bill may not pass the House. So that's certainly an important consideration. So, discussion on the bill, Delegate Kaufman.
Can you hear me now, Madam Chair?
Yes.
I just want to see if Ms. McGuire is comfortable with the amendments. Do you consider them friendly amendments from MCPS's point of view?
Excuse me. Yes, we do. That's the short answer. I'm happy to say more if you'd like.
No, yes, we do is good enough, unless I don't want to cut you off though. If you'd like to say something more, feel free, but.
So
yes.
certainly the amendments do reflect exactly what we're looking for. MCPS actually in our calendar, we meet the day standard as required, but every year we exceed the hours by a significant amount. In fact, this year, even with the number of days we had to take off school, we would still be okay with hours, but we would be short days. And so again, it just would allow us to avoid making decisions with snow days that are challenging for our community, challenging fiscally, and don't achieve the instructional goals that we all know are so critical.
Thank you for that. Further discussion on the bill?
Move favorable, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Are we moving the amendments first? I was gonna.
Yes, we
Oh
need to
yeah, move the amendments.
first. Thank you.
I'll second the amendment.
Yes. Thank you. Ralph, can you call the roll on the amendments?
Certainly, and with pleasure. Delegate Charkoudian,
Yes.
Delegate Collison,
Yes.
Delegate Crutchfield,
Yes.
Delegate Shetty, Delegate Kaufman,
Yes.
Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Ziegler.
Yes.
The amendments pass.
I move favorable on the bill.
Second.
Alrighty. Delegate Charkoudian,
Yes.
Delegate Collison,
Delegate.
Yes.
Delegate Crutchfield,
Yes.
Delegate Kaufman,
Yes.
Delegate Shetty, Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Ziegler.
Yes.
The bill passes as amended.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. We moved 2 bills out and hopefully we can get a resolution on the school holidays bill. Thank you very much, Delegate Wu, for joining us. Thank you to all of our guests. And I will see everyone on the floor.